Hello folks and welcome to Paddock Pass, your post-race edition for the 2019 Russian Grand Prix. And we asked the question coming into the weekend of whether Ferrari could make it a clean sweep for September. They started on Saturday in the best possible way. 4 straight pole positions for Charles Leclerc pointed at a potential for 4 straight race wins. They had the pace advantage, that much was clear with the strategy work for them. It was Leclerc on pole, Hamilton second, Vettel third, and with Leclerc knowing Vettel had a good run at taking the lead, as they always do from P3 here on that long run down to turn 2. So strong is the pull of that slipstream. And that's what happened. Leclerc, heated position, fell to second place. Hamilton tucked in behind. And Vettel, in the lead, was given the order by Ferrari to switch positions with Charles Leclerc, which he didn't do. So they asked him again, and he didn't. And the gap increased, and by the time the gap had increased, Charles said on the radio, "Don't worry, I know what the plan is, it's totally cool, I trust the team to switch the positions back." And sure enough, the team pitted Charles, waited a couple of laps until Sebastian's lead had eventually eroded away, pitted Sebastian, and out he came behind Charles. And then the moment that changed the race completely from a Ferrari perspective, Vettel's car. MGUK issue with no prior warning. He pulled it to the side of the track in a position that he thought was at a marshal post. It was at a marshal post, theoretically an easy place for them to take the car off the track, and yet out came the virtual safety car. In came the Mercedes drivers, and all of a sudden a Ferrari 1-2, whether it was Vettel and Leclerc or Leclerc and Vettel, became a Mercedes 1-2. And that is how it finished. Lewis Hamilton, race winner. Valtteri Bottas, P2, holding off a rampant Charles Leclerc at the end, who had stopped twice in the end, 4 soft tyres to try and take that fight back from Mercedes. It was a weekend in which Mercedes clutched victory from the jaws of defeat. They turned around what had looked on Saturday to be an impossible situation and made the most of it. But there are questions at Ferrari. You're going to hear from Sebastian Vettel in a minute, who sounded confused, perplexed over exactly what the agreement had been, whether he had broken it, whether he had delayed it. You hear his words and Charles's words about what was agreed or wasn't agreed before the race began. Either way, Ferrari didn't make it 4 on the bounce. They leave here massively disappointed. Mercedes relieved, although everyone knows after the summer break, it's still Ferrari in the ascendancy, and Mercedes got very, very lucky. A Grand Prix victory that looked nowhere near certain yesterday.
No, definitely not. Obviously, qualifying was good, but geez, they took off like a rocket on that start. And I nearly got lost, obviously, taken by the McLaren. Well, I did get taken by the McLaren, but got back ahead of him into turn 2. So then I was thinking, okay, so plan B, just try and keep up with them and see what options open up. But the tyres weren't really dropping off. They're really reliable and consistent. And then my pace started to improve as they started to go down. Once Leclerc started coming in, I started pulling Seb in, and I was like, yes, okay, we got a good race going. Really unlucky for Seb because he obviously drove so well from the get-go with his great start, and then I think Leclerc let him pass at the start, but they had a tactic I think they were working on, but nonetheless he was super quick and pulling away. So but what a result for the team. To get a 1-2 was definitely not expecting that today, and it just goes to show you just never give up, just keep pushing.
And after the strategic debrief, I know you guys said you needed, after Singapore, a perfect way to bounce back with the perfect strategy, taking full advantage of that virtual safety car.
Yeah, definitely. I think the strategists were definitely really fully on it today. I think we all were, and even Valtteri, to keep the Ferrari behind, did a fantastic job to secure the 1-2, which is so important for us. So particularly after 3 really tough races, this is I can't tell you how rewarding this feels.
Someone had told you P2 when you woke up this morning. Would you have taken that?
You never take P2. You know?
Good answer.
Just turn to the other side and continue sleeping.
Really? But it's a good result for the team, no?
It is, it's a very good result for the team. I'm happy, for us, and starting 4th, finishing 2nd, knowing that there was always going to be two pretty quick cars ahead, the red ones. So it's good. Yeah, I mean, it was always kind of the plan for us since yesterday that we want to go long with the first stint, trying to maximize any luck we could get on our side with VSC or safety car, and it happened today. So obviously you need luck to have it, but we knew with the tyre choice we had it is possible, and I'm glad it went like this, and it's very, very motivating for the whole team. I think it's been a while since last time 1-2, so good to have it again, and I'm sure every single team personnel is very happy about that.
And I think everybody could see that the Ferrari was the quicker car this weekend. How hard was it to keep Charles behind you on the fresher, softer tyres as well for the remainder of the race?
Yeah, they are so quick on the straights, so you just need to try and build a good gap before the main straight, before the back straight, and had to push hard in the corners. Sometimes maybe a bit harder than I wanted. So, but in the end he didn't really have a proper overtake chance at any point. So just had to do it without mistakes, and so not too bad.
It was a great start, but when the call came through, was it a surprise to you that it came?
Yeah, I think we had an agreement, or we spoke about it before. Now maybe I don't know, we need to have a look and sit down, so I'm quite relaxed about it. Obviously my race wasn't supposed to happen, the car let me down in a way, but yeah, we'll talk about it and then move on.
When the team left you out, obviously the laps wore down, your lead wore down, you came out behind. Was that an intentional move by them, do you think, to reverse the positions that you were unwilling to do?
Well, I don't know. Obviously I was a lot slower because I was on the used tyres. I was the same pace as Lewis, so nothing standing out bad, but not obviously as quick as with new tyres. So I don't know the thinking behind, but I'm sure we'll cover it.
Are you upset with the way that things played out today?
Yeah, I didn't finish, so I can't be happy with that.
But before that, the way the race planned out?
Yeah, as I said, I mean, I'm not ignorant, so I want to make sure I understand everything, and I think we go through, and then I don't want to miss anything. For me, it was clear, so I was also faster in the first stint, but yeah, let's see.
With the MG UK, was there any warning at all that it was going to go? Did you turn anything up? Or
I did the normal pit stop and got out and had no power leaving the box. Or actually, after turn 1, I believe I had no power, so don't know what happened.
Not the result that you or the team, I would imagine, wanted today. I want to talk to you about reversing positions, switching. Was it talked about before the race? Was it agreed before the race? Because Sebastian didn't seem sure one way or the other.
Okay. I'm surprised. Yes, it was completely agreed. But I will speak to the team. I think everything has been respected. The swap has been done by the pit stop at the end. So, as we had agreed before the race.
Was it frustrating to be in the car, to be told that Seb was going to move out of the way and then didn't?
A little bit, but at the end I had, as I said on the radio, I told them that I was 100% sure that they will respect what they had told me before. So I hope that at one point in the race this will happen, and it did.
The end of the race, obviously those Mercedes weren't as quick as you guys for the remainder of the weekend. How hard was it to follow, to get close enough to make the move? We saw you get almost there, and then just the smallest of mistakes took you away again.
Yes, they were quick too, especially in the race pace. I don't know how, but they are very quick in the race pace. I mean, in quali pace we seem to be very strong at the moment, but in race pace they seem still to be a bit quicker, so we need to understand why. I think it was quite difficult for Lewis to follow behind the cars at the start, but then once he had free air, he was very quick, and I think his fastest lap time shows it.
After Singapore, we asked you if there needed to be a discussion. There was. We are here. Do we need another discussion again? How do you and Seb and the team resolve this moving forward for the benefit of the team?
I don't think there is any discussion to have today. At the end, everything that has been told was respected, as I said. Happy.
There then, two very happy drivers, two not very happy drivers at the end of the Russian Grand Prix. Time now for two happy drivers down here at Red Bull. Verstappen and Albon both starting the race weekend with engine penalties. Albon ended up, after his crash in qualifying, starting from the pit lane. Fought valiantly throughout the race, made the best use of the safety car. Actually, we talked about it at the top of the show. There was a virtual safety car came out when Vettel's retirement happened, but then there was a Williams retirement for George Russell when he went into the barriers. That brought out the full safety car and changed the narrative of the race a little bit as well. Anyway, Albon able to make best of use of that and fight his way through from pit lane to a P5, picking off positions in the final laps. Great run from him, finally looking confident and comfortable in the car. Max Verstappen also obviously lost places on the grid with his engine penalty drop. He said yesterday he wanted to fight through to a P5, came home P4.
Yeah, well, of course with luck, but it's okay. That's the best we could do here.
Happy with it overall?
Well, just satisfied, I guess.
Pit lane to P5. Hell of a job.
Thank you. Yeah, didn't want it to be like that, but to be honest, to come back from a tough Saturday, it was good. I enjoyed it, and yeah, kind of for the team really. I think a lot of work. I damaged the car in P2, I think it was, and then again in qualifying. So no, I'm happy.
What does this say about you and where you are with the car now? That obviously you've taken it to and beyond the limit on a couple of occasions this weekend, but that in the race you appear to be far more comfortable with it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much like every time I've been in the car, it's always like FP1. It's like whoa, readjust. FP2 improve, FP3 improve. Okay, this time in quali I made a mistake, but in the end I was still improving. And then come Sunday, I'm not more or less okay, but just it's that time in the car which I'm missing out on, and hopefully that will speed up. But we are going to new tracks at the same time. I'm a little bit worried. Anyway, we'll see.
What a race for McLaren, and what a race for Carlos Sainz at the start, flying up into P4, right in the midst of all the action behind Lewis Hamilton, with Valtteri Bottas behind him, and the McLaren driver looking great. Didn't put up any fight when Bottas did make the move on him, and we'll talk to him about that in a little bit. Came home a brilliant P6, and with Lando Norris a P8, and only one Renault finishing today, a very good, very promising weekend for McLaren, where they've made the best of their situation once again.
Another good start, which was fun to race the leaders into turn one. I know with my good starts this season I would have a chance, so I just need to nail another good start, and maybe I gave myself a chance to fight with the Ferraris and the Mercedes, and that's exactly what happened. So it was a nice way to start, a nice way to motivate yourself, and then the whole race, good pace, good management of the tires, of the whole strategy, and we finalized the best of the rest, which is exactly what we wanted.
When you have a Mercedes behind you like Valtteri, do you want to defend, or do you think that's going to just waste too much time and use up too much of your tyres having that fight?
Unfortunately, I think to fight a Mercedes or a Red Bull at the moment, we need to gain another half a second to make it worth it, because at the moment the only thing that makes you is to lose 1 or 2 seconds of your race time, and with such a fast car like Perez on the straights coming from behind, I didn't want to let him get into my DRS while battling with Albon, because that racing point is mighty quick on the straight. So there was a bit of management to do there. Maybe if it would have been the last lap of the race, no doubt I would have been a lot more aggressive. But today, after a few tough races, it was important to get the points on the board.
P8, battling drive all the way through the day.
Battling drive. It wasn't a nice chill drive.
No.
The first half was good. We had a really good launch, both Carlos and myself. So the team have done a really good job on that side of things, because last year we were struggling with the launches and starts, and this year and here, especially where it's important to get a nice run down to turn 2. We had a really good launch, so that was nice. Gained the position in Hulkenberg, and it was fairly straightforward from then on until the VSCs came into play. We just a bit unfortunate. We came out just behind Magnussen, and then because of that, it allowed Alex to stay a bit closer to me than I wanted to, which meant he could come past. And then we had a nice little battle. And then Perez got past because of that. So, it wasn't a bad race. We had a reasonable pace. I was fairly happy with the car. Still some improvements to make, but P8 still some nice points.
One thing guaranteed at Racing Point, good tunes. There goes Sergio. Bye, Sergio. See you next time. Great race from Checo today. P7 from him, and another strong battling drive with the updated, upgraded Racing Point car. Lance Stroll, not so happy, struggled with his tyres all afternoon, ultimately coming home P11, but another brilliant afternoon from Sergio Perez, getting everything he could out of the car, and I think possibly even better than they were expecting at the start of the weekend.
I'm very pleased with how we maximize the result. I think it's been one of my best races. Great start and great management throughout the stint, knowing when to fight, when not. We were just perfect today. I just doubt that we could have done any better. We were very unlucky with the safety car out there, but still we managed to get a great result, a lot of points. I got caught with Hülkenberg. He overtook me. Had a deployment issue. I wasn't expecting him to be there. When I looked at my mirrors, he was there, so it was too late to block him. But still, I think we managed to do a fantastic race.
It had been looking like a much better weekend for Haas. Both drivers, in the end, using the hybrid car, the much vaunted hybrid car, some of the old parts, some of the new parts, to try to get over the woes that they have been experiencing since that upgrade package first came in at the start of the European season. Romain Grosjean was P6 in Q2, qualified P9 in the end, looking really, really strong for the race. Kevin Magnussen hadn't done quite so well in qualifying, but gave his teammate a thumbs up, as in, great job from him, and the car was feeling good for him as well. He was just annoyed that he hadn't got the most out of it. And then in the race, if Romain Grosjean didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. 3 drivers into one, down at turn 4. Giovinazzi, the meat in the sandwich of Ricciardo on the inside, Grosjean on the outside, and Grosjean just turning in, flipped up into the air and in the barrier and out of the race. Gutted, nothing he could have done. Just, one of those racing incidents. K-Mag, however, what a race. I'm going to say for probably first time since Barcelona, maybe even before that he's looked comfortable in race conditions in a racing car. He looked purposeful, he looked aggressive, he looked on top of it, he looked good, potentially for a top 6 finish. Made a mistake though, ran off the track, lost a position to Perez, but then got a penalty as well. Scutting for him and for the team. P9 at the close of play. Should have been more, but the positives of this is that the new car, hybrid, it works, and they're getting on top of the woes that have afflicted them now for 3/4 of a year. You said on Twitter yesterday that you did a big poo, but you took it and you polished it up today, and you made something of it.
I think I meant I took turn 8 and made it into a big poo. That's how I felt.
Okay, but you took that poo and you made something beautiful with it.
Yeah, I mean, almost. We got that stupid penalty at the end, which I just don't get it. It's like it's never black and white, these things. What happened with me. I kind of went. There's first curb, the second curb, and we have we've changed the rules over the weekend because they can't really figure out what they want to do with it. But then it ended up being that if you miss the first curb, you have to take both of these cones. If you miss the first one, you have to only take the second cone. And I kind of went in between, and I took a bit of the first curb, but I felt it was way too dangerous to try and make a U-turn to go so far left and take that. I'd be at risk of losing control. So I just went through one of them and lost the position to Perez, lost a load of time, had dirt on my tires, lost way enough time. And then I get this other penalty, and I just think it's in a grey area. This thing, it isn't black and white. And then they choose to go for the penalty, way too trigger happy with these penalties.
So still a bit of a pooey weekend.
Yes, smells a bit of poo still.
But car looked. For the first time in a long time, you looked comfortable with it. You looked like you could race it. You could lean on it. It looked really good out there.
It was. I think I can speak for the whole team to say that it's been a great relief this weekend to kind of be in contention, from the beginning, and also in the race. We looked really good, actually. I felt like we had the fastest car in qualifying. As we talked about, I messed it up, and But again, today we saw already on Friday in FP2 that the car was good on long runs, and then today that showed it again. Especially in the first stint where we made that soft tire last a long time. So, great job from for the whole team to, keep the head up after a tough first half of the season.
So, we've already heard that Daniel Ricciardo was part of that sandwich with the Haas drivers down, it was with Grosjean, at turn 4 on lap 1. The damage that he picked up in that ultimately saw him retire later on in the race. For Nico Hülkenberg, a difficult day as well. Bad start, terrible pit stop, 7 seconds plus in his pit stop, dropped him down the order, and he was just out of position for the whole afternoon. Fought valiantly though, came home in 10th place, but in that tight fight with McLaren for 4th in the Constructors. Not a good weekend for Renault.
Can't be that happy, to be honest, because the car, I think, should have been right up there with P6. We should have been fighting with Carlos for P6, but kind of didn't happen for us today. The race, just everything that could go wrong went wrong. Bad start, bad pit stop, then unfortunate with the safety car, traffic, some engine issues right at the end. So yeah, just all very difficult, and yeah, with these circumstances you can't really ask for much more than 10th.
Was it the pit stop that really stemmed it all? There was actually a couple of seconds there just putting you, say, wrong place on the track when the things sort of started to fall.
Yeah, obviously it all starts with a poor start. I lost, I think, 3-4 positions on lap 1. Obviously that's not great, and leaves you a bit on the back foot and exposed from there. But then, of course, losing seconds in a pit stop in a midfield where every 10th matters is quite, costly as well. But that's racing, I guess. We'll regroup and bounce back in Japan.
Belting tunes down at Pirelli too. Backups in full swing. Everybody's looking forward to going home. It's been a tough back-to-back, tough doubleheader, Singapore to here. Toro Rosso not going home happy. P12 and P14 at the flag today for Pierre Gasly and Danny Kvyat, just not their weekends.
Well, it was pretty difficult for us. A lot of overheating issues. And yeah, we didn't have the pace to fight for points, so quite difficult. A lot to analyze, and come back with better pace in Suzuka.
And so to Alfa Romeo. Whoop! Should have practiced that. Where everything that could go wrong kind of did go wrong for them today. Thought they could have got some points, but a P13 for Kimi Räikkönen and P15 for Antonio Giovinazzi spells just how disappointing this weekend ultimately was for them. Antonio, the meat in the sandwich on lap 1, was it just an impossible day after that?
Yeah, I think we had damage, and then of course I pit for a new front wing, but I think it was more damage there. So yeah, nothing to do after that.
Today marked the first time this season that Williams recorded a double DNF. The safety car was called out when George Russell went straight on into the barriers, locking his brakes and heading on in. He wasn't sure what was up with his car. Was it a front wing failure? Was it a rear suspension failure? The team then called Robert Kubica in, and by the time he got down to us, he wasn't exactly sure what the problem was either. Undiagnosed on the car, something the team will need to look into. Obviously, determine what the cause of the retirement was for both drivers, as it was something clearly so problematic that they had to call an early end to Robert Kubica's race. Their first DNF of the season in Singapore, a double DNF here in Russia. Looked like a front left issue. Was it brakes?
To be honest, we don't really know. I just went into the corner and the whole car just bottomed out, and I lost, we could have bottomed out, I couldn't turn and just went straight on into the wall. So we don't know if something went under the car, if it was a front wing or something broke, but looking into it.
Okay. So basically an undiagnosed thing that made the car uncontrollable. Were you able to slow it down adequately, or did it still go in at a fair speed?
Went in at a fair speed, but it was just one of those things really. I mean, from my side, absolutely fine, but when the front of the car was off the ground, I couldn't turn, couldn't brake, so just heading towards the wall. But a bit of a shame. Pace was looking really good until that point for us, and just annoying to finish 2 races in a row at the halfway distance.
Robert, weren't expecting to see you here. Why are you out of the race?
I can only talk what I know, so I don't know really the reason.
Oh, did the team pull you in, called you in? Because we saw George go off. It looked like a brake issue potentially for him. Might that be a reason?
I don't know. You have to ask team. I can, as I say, I can talk of what I know, and this is the answer. I don't know honestly. I came straight away from here, so I cannot give you a precise answer, unfortunately.
So they didn't give you a reason?
No, I don't know. I assume there is a reason, but it's better you ask the team. I might something wrong, which better. As I don't know 100%, it's better I don't answer.
That then is your lot from Paddock Pass here in Sochi. And what a weekend it's been. For some of the right reasons and potentially some of the wrong reasons. Ferrari. I think one thing is certain. From when we came back from the summer break, they have been in the ascendancy. They have a more complete car and the team is operating at a better potential than it has been all season long. They have two drivers fired up. Charles Leclerc, now a two-time Grand Prix winner. Sebastian Vettel in Singapore, back on the top step of the podium. But they have a problem. It's been brewing, it's been coming, we've seen it all season. And Toto Wolff said at the start of this weekend that he could see the Vettel-Leclerc scenario becoming exactly the same as he had with Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes. One that could become toxic if not nipped in the bud early. What happened in today's race, and as we heard from the drivers afterwards, Charles saying it was very clear the strategy the team would employ in order that if he did his job, kept Lewis at bay at the start and Seb took the lead, that he would have that place given back to him at some point in the race. That's what was discussed, that's what was agreed. But when Seb was asked about it, seemed a bit sketchier on it. People are comparing it to Multi 21 and the Red Bull days. Multi 516, Multi 165. Who knows? One thing is clear though, there is something there that needs nipping in the bud in order to resolve it before we get to the last races of the year, because as we just said, they have the best car in Formula One. They have a car capable of winning at every type of track, theoretically. We've seen them on the big power circuits. We've seen them on the street circuits. And on this track that has suited Mercedes forever, Ferrari was in the ascendancy. They can be the dominant force of the closing part of the season, but they have to get that driver dynamic bolted down and their drivers in line. Otherwise, these guys will take advantage as they did do today. You cannot give them an inch. They will take it all. Can't wait to get to Japan. 2 weeks separates this and then. Always a great race, always joyous. Interestingly, a track on which Seb always goes well, absolutely adores it. Lewis loves it too. How will Charles go? How will Valtteri go? How will these remaining 5 races play out? Cannot wait. So much jeopardy in these final few runs as the World Championship for 2019 is played out. That's your lot from Paddock Pass. We'll see you in Suzuka. For now, though, that is your lot.